This is CBeebies on YouTube. Find even more fun and games for your child at the CBeebies website.
Jackanory, Jackanory. Jackanory.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the Goodnight Stories book for Rebel Girls. Tonight's story is all about Cleopatra, a pharaoh from Egypt. Now, once upon a time, in ancient Egypt, a pharaoh died and left his kingdom to his 10-year-old son, Ptolemy XIII, and to his 18-year-old daughter, Cleopatra. The two had such different ideas about how to run the country that they couldn't agree on anything, and it wasn't long until Cleopatra was kicked out of the palace, and this sparked a civil war amongst the people. Julius Caesar, who was the emperor in Rome, travelled to Egypt to try and help Cleopatra and her brother find an agreement about how they would run the kingdom together. Cleopatra had an idea. If only I could meet Caesar before my brother does, Cleopatra thought. I could convince him that I am the better pharaoh. Unfortunately, she'd been banished from the palace. The guards would have blocked her at the entrance. But Cleopatra was smart, and she had a great idea. She asked her servants to roll her up inside a carpet so that she could hide and be smuggled into the palace where Caesar was staying. Impressed by how daring she was, Caesar restored Cleopatra to the throne. Cleopatra and Caesar became a couple. They got married and had a son. Cleopatra then moved to Rome, and together they ruled both Egypt and Rome as pharaoh and king. Unfortunately, Caesar was killed, and Cleopatra went back to Egypt, where she was from. Now this meant there was a new Roman leader, Mark Antony, and he'd heard a lot about this strong Egyptian queen, and so much so, he wanted to meet her and find out about her for himself. He summoned her, and this time, instead of meeting him in a carpet, she arrived on a golden barge surrounded by precious jewels and silk. And it was love at first sight. Cleopatra and Mark Antony fell deeply in love and became inseparable. They had 3 children and loved each other to the end of their lives. When Cleopatra died, the Egyptian empire ended with her. She was the last pharaoh to rule ancient Egypt, and all because she was daring enough to sneak inside the palace and meet with Caesar. That's the story of Cleopatra, the last pharaoh in ancient Egypt. And now, it's time for bed.
Story.